Well, there have been dramatic clashes between police and protesters on the streets of Indonesia's capital as thousands of students expressed anger over increased allowances for members of parliament. So why has the government's plan drawn so much outrage in Jakarta? Natasya Salim is a reporter with ABC Indonesia and she joins me now in the studio. Natasha, good to have you with us today. Now, how big were these protests and did they get particularly violent on the streets?
It's actually quite significant because according to the legal aid organization in the country, the police arrested at least 300 protesters. Dozens of them were students under the age of 17 years old. So everything on the ground turned quite violent after, especially because the police had to fire tear gas to control the mass and fire. There is a view of fire like on the ground, and people also threw some stones into the police office and also hitting the stations with a bamboo stick. So yeah, there was also disruptions with the public transport. So people couldn't really get home after work at that night. So the situation was a bit hectic down there.
Yes, and all this was directed, at these privileges and more allowances being given to members of parliament in Indonesia. So what is it about these extra allowances and pay packets that have, sparked so much anger and outrage among the protesters you were just talking about?
Yeah, that is so true. So the anger and frustration within these people and protesters had actually happened a while ago. And it actually happened first on social media. But then people started taking it to the streets, especially after hearing media reports about the allowances for these MPs in Indonesia. So one of the examples of the allowances that were being announced or reported on media is about the house allowance. So some of these MPs, they live outside of Jakarta, and then this money were budgeted for them to rent a place in Jakarta. But the amount of the money is around 50 million rupiah, or like around 5,000 Australian dollars, which is actually 20 times higher than the amount of the minimum wage in most provinces in Indonesia. And that's why people are so angry, because they see it as, unfair, and then especially among the young people, because they're finding it hard to find jobs and everything else.
Yeah, so these protesters have had their say through the protests they had. What are the politicians had to say in response?
Yeah, so one comment was from the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he said that he would take all the critics to consideration, but people see this as just a formal statement because which the government tends to do when a protest happens. So yeah, they're probably not quite happy about that reaction from the government.
Yes. And Natasha, I find it quite interesting, finally, that these protesters were using a particular flag from a Japanese manga series, One Piece. What's that meant to symbolize there?
They see it as a symbol of resistance because in the series itself, there are actually a couple of incidents where the main characters were faced with authority figures and they would have to fight for what they wanted to reach their goal. So people in Indonesia, at least people participating in this trend, see the parallels between this series with what's happening in Indonesia. But the thing is, some members of the fan base, they're actually not very happy about, One Piece being used in real life, and saying that, One Piece is simply just a series about people who want to reach their dreams. So there's been a bit pros and cons over there.
Okay, Natasya Salim from ABC Indonesia, thanks very much for explaining it all for us. Thank you.
Thank you.